All right, budget plan, we've talked about, have we not?
Yep.
We have not. Outsourcing taxes, universal rate for kilowatts. This is a request that the mayor proposed, and I can get to everybody a copy of our current utility rate schedule. Okay? And in Blackstone, the more you use, believe it or not, the more expensive per kilowatt hour. Okay? Like a commercial, specifically to the commercial. So if Rice Corporation, who's a big user, gets their bill, they're paying a little more kilowatt hour than a demand meter at Corn Kitchen. Okay? And it's based on consumption. We'll get a copy of those rates to you. The mayor, and I think there was some comment where the town had these inverted rates and they're unfair. But keep in mind, the town has rates that, and it's not by much, it's like tenths of a percent, that sort of thing. It's not dramatically higher, okay? But the more you use as a commercial or demand customer, the higher your rate is, and that's a true fact. There was much consternation some years ago, and people were saying, oh, your rates are inverted, it's unfair. But the reason the town does that, okay? And I'm not saying we can't, because it's just a 10%. But remember, at the end of the day, we gotta collect the same amount. So if bigger users get lower bills, smaller users are gonna have to get bigger bills. Okay?
It's got to even out somewhere.
You gotta even it out. So if people like Rice or the primary school or, you know, one of these other
Heritage
big
Hall.
users,
Heritage Hall, they're
Heritage Hall,
they're a
big
very
user,
large
yeah,
user.
exactly. They would pay perhaps a lower rate, but somebody living on
I
7th
think the
Street
big
or
thing-
on, you know, North Main Street.
I think the big thing that I'd heard from coming from the mayor and several other individuals on residential side right now, if you use up to what is it, 1,100
Yeah, you don't
kilowatts?
pay anything.
11, yeah.
So we needed to look at, and that was years and years ago. So where do we need to raise that to 1,400? To, I mean,
No, because that would be less revenue to the town.
correct.
Now, what we can do is, actually, I think it's 20 kilowatt hour or 20 kilowatt hours that they get on each bill without any charge. For 20 kilowatt hours is free. I'll get the rates for you for everything. Those are the kinds of things that people don't realize. There's a little stuff for free up front. But our rates, if you look at our overall rates, I'm very, try to defend this, our rates are still about middle of the pack statewide, okay? If you look at an average customer, 1,000 kilowatt hours, and that's the comparison that the Attorney General's office uses, we're about midway. We're like $114 or $113 for 1,000 kilowatt hours. There's many more higher, and I'm not busting on Southside shops or these rural co-ops, because they got a lot of line with very few customers per mile of line. We've got intensive. So they've got pretty high, these rural cooperatives, and Southside Electric being one of them, but there's a reason why theirs is higher, but they, per kilowatt hour, are more expensive than the town. Okay? But they do an average budget billing, so the bill never looks way out of hand. Whoa, a $600 bill, a $700 bill, but they do charge more for their power than we do, in part because they have fewer customers per line.
Can you provide with to us for our next meeting, because obviously we're not solving the universal
Right.
rate this evening, or the rate comparison that we've had before?
Absolutely.
I don't know if you can get an up-to-date one. And then also, you've given it to me before, I believe, what our rates are per kilowatt
On the
hour.
tiers,
Yeah, on
right.
the tiers. Give us those, and then that way we can be better informed as to how can we negotiate this level to that level. Include that first free, because I mean, it may be that you may reduce that first free a little bit
By 10 kilowatt
to
hours.
take, and then you reduce the next level some. I mean, I don't know, it may be, you
Maybe
may have
do
to
a rate
finagle.
study or
Yeah.
whatever it costs, but at the end of the day, the intention, I think, from the mayor was one commercial rate, one residential rate. But at the end of the day, is those big customers who consume vast percentages of the,
We don't have a corporate level rate.
now, we have a commercial and we have a residential.
And I think you'd hear a lot less if we solve the residential side and leave the commercial status quo. I think
If you made
it,
the
I think,
commercial flat, you may have to bump that commercial, or if you leave the residential at one rate, you may have to bump the commercial a little bit. But
Yeah.
they're using tens
Oh,
of
they're
percent
much
of the value compared to residential. We really make our money on the big.
So
customers.
just get us those figures and then that way we can look at it better on.
And I get you water and sewer and garbage collection too, so you know what those are. Okay?
Alright, energy share, that was something with steps, they came to us.
Energy share is, if you guys want to, and I'm not recommending doing it right now, I don't think it's a bad idea ultimately, but it's, I can pledge $3 a month on my utility bill or something, and then we can build a fund to help people. Cause there are a bunch of people every month that come here to town and can't pay right now. We just got a woman on, she's been off since the middle of May,
Oh,
living
wow.
in her house. Since
Is
the
that-
middle of May, with her grandkids, with
Is
no
that
power.
feasible? I mean, can that be done?
Huh?
Can that be done? I mean, are they allowed to be in the house with no?
Technically, you're not supposed to be in a house, but am I gonna evict an
Yeah,
82-year-old woman?
exactly.
Oh, wow.
And that's where I believe Steps has proposed that we do an energy share where, say, we get our utility bills, we can pay ours, but if you wanna put $2 towards a fund to where Joe Blow down the street, you can't pay theirs, they
For
can take that.
legitimate cases that social services screens, remember, social services has some cooling assistance
They
programs.
do,
and
yeah.
Help, I think is the name of the group, where,
Yeah.
Jerry Cole, they help out some, I can tell you one woman got $700 last month to help with a bill.
And
Okay?
Steps already has a energy
Correct.
share plan as well.
I mean, I love the idea, but with all the rate stuff that we're doing with the budget plan, can you put this on a agenda for,
Sure.
I don't know, say the end of the year or something?
And to be honest,
after we
I-
get our
I-
feet on the ground with the budget plan and,
Yeah.
I need to get with our accounting system to really figure out the logistics of it. You know, say Joe Smith puts $3 extra. In my system right now, it's gonna show as a credit
As
on
a credit to his
I have
account.
to
Yeah.
figure out the logistics of
So-
how am I gonna move that.
That's
Once-
money
I
into
think
that
once we get the
fund.
budget plan
Yeah.
established, so if
Maybe-
you can, put it on a list for spring
Yeah.
next year or something.
Sounds good.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's not a bad idea. I'm not trying
Yeah.
to push it down the road, but it's a lot of stuff that you
Yeah.
guys are gonna have to.
Changes, right.
I'm gonna handle one of these items, a line of credit for VDOT projects, and then Jennifer will handle the, other outstanding item, which is procurement policy.
You also have this one too, that we had, we're adding.
You're right. And if we look at a line of credit for VDOT, if you remember, when we took out the Nottaway Avenue project and the South Main projects, the two VDOT funded or partially funded by VDOT projects, when we put the curb and gutter and sidewalks out to Cole Harbor, where you gotta put your bus shelter, and the, South Main, when we redid all the paving and patched bad sidewalks and put drainage in and all that. The reason I would like to again seek a line of credit specific to projects, VDOT funded projects, is because VDOT has a new way of billing, okay? Contractor gives us a bill on the 10th of the month, okay? We used to send it to VDOT, pay us half of that. And when we got VDOT's money, we put ours in, theirs in, and they get a check. Now, we gotta pay the whole thing up front and show them an invoice that has been paid, and then they'll start processing.
And
And wait
a
30
clear check.
And a clear
days
check.
for
So-
VDOT to pay us back.
So
in
we've
30
got
days.
cash flow issues, if we gotta pay the whole thing.
Can you charge VDOT the interest? I mean, cause if
Would
if
we
you
ever get
if
any
you
more
a-
money from
yeah,
VDOT?
If you get $1 million bill, I mean, that interest can add up quick.
And it helped us on Nottaway Avenue. I mean, because, remember, these contractor invoices, and I'm not asking for, because everything else should be funded.
Yeah.
But those VDOT one, man, those reimbursements are slim.
What do you see, our next VDOT project is Heritage Hall, or from 8th Street to,
We have 3 projects that we're gonna be working on very shortly with VDOT. 2 very shortly, one probably gonna take a couple of years. And I announced at the council meeting last month that we had received and are in the midst of waiting on a VDOT review on a set of drawings to build curb and gutter and sidewalk adjacent to the baseball and basketball complex, antique lights, all that. We received a $206,000 grant, and we're gonna pay the difference, okay? This past year, we also applied for the next phase, which would be a walking trail, and I think you'll hear that as a sidewalk, going to the primary school, so a kid can walk on the sidewalk to the primary school, not in the street, all the way around the ball fields, and it'll be a loop.
so you can actually come off of Main Street if you need to walk.
Yep.
Walk down Main Street or walk down Bagley Street and get on the
It's an old
sections.
sidewalk on Bagley, yeah, it's kind of chewed up.
But there's a safe way to get
There's a
to,
safe way to get there. Okay? All right. So those 2 projects, and remember, we got upfront the money, and then VDOT has to see a paid invoice and a check that we paid, that's correct. So, the 3rd project is, we just were announced, is that we're gonna rework the drainage and the pavement, the sidewalks and all that sort of thing on South Main Street in the next phase of South Main Street from 6th Street, you can see where the pavement stopped, We'd stop the last
Right
one,
at Heritage Hall.
and it'll go beyond 8th Street to the next drop inlet, which,
You know
Runs over
where,
next to community
you know where
convenience.
community convenience is? It's got that big old,
Yes,
it
yeah.
all connects there. That's where everything on Main Street drains to, from Church Street down.
There's a
Yeah.
big, there's a big creek back there, it takes a lot of raw water. That project is a $456,000 local commitment and a $456,000 state commitment. I don't have $456,000 yet. We're gonna put that aside and get that all set up, and we've got usually 3 years to build it. And I think they're anticipating VDOT schedules that we wouldn't even bid that project until 2020. Okay, so that'll give me time to
Yeah.
get our money aside. But in the interim, I would like to open a line of credit, bid it out,
Bid it out.
and get 3 prices, one BB&T,
You're not,
Bank.
you're not asking to go to, Davenport. You can
No,
do this
no, no,
with,
no, no.
you don't need them for this.
I don't need them for this. But I do think we need to have a line of credit at or about the 400,000 that we had for the.
Just to
other.
float you for,
But the motion should be specific for only VDOT funded projects. I don't wanna use it to make payroll, if we run short.
so
True.
Also, man,
Yeah.
have we heard any update on time frame over there for, Wrigglesworth? For
I
the,
talked
for the
to
VDOT
Brittany
project?
Garnett, who's the engineer that's doing the work, and we have received a 50% review and approval, and we are waiting for the 100% review.
So we still think by April this,
Yes,
I mean, we need to be
it's an easy
done.
project.
correct, I agree, but you know winter comes and winter is a mess sometimes, so.
We will be driving on new pavement, maybe a little after April, because remember, you can't buy
Yeah,
pavement
you gotta have the plant open.
until it gets warm.
So
So it may not be paved and fancy, but the concrete. will be.
400,000 is a safe number for you for line of credit for
And
VDOT?
I'll ask you if we need more, as we get into that bigger project, it's $900,000. That thing down on, but remember, Nottaway Avenue is like $600,000. So I think the 400 should get us, and I don't think it should, certainly with those 2
Yeah.
projects that we're gonna be doing initially, I would ask that we'd be able to get pricing and bring it to full council. I don't think we need to wait until August 27th just to get prices, but I'd like to present, and you guys know that we're gonna present 3
Do
proposals.
you need a motion for this?
If you're comfortable, yeah.
I move that we, ask, do we need to ask the council first, or you go ahead and,
I'll get the bids, but it'll have to be authorized by the full council.
okay. I make a motion that we present to the full council 3 local bids, for VDOT specific projects, a line of credit of $400,000.
And if I need to increase it, I'll let you know, but
This is VDOT specific, so,
VDOT specific.
Vito.
all right.
All right, last item that I've
Hold
got
on.
is for,
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, go ahead.
next item, the last item that I have, electric service to the industrial park. Okay? I think you got a letter at the very back of your package. This is a letter that was just Frank Carlo most recently. This is the most recent stuff we have on it. And it looks like this option 1, they're saying about $450,000 to get it to Mr. Carlo. Okay? As you know, I really wanted to cooperatively try to find a way that we could create a delivery point in Southside Electric so that the construction of that line would be unnecessary, because we have an electric line that already runs adjacent to Mr. Carlo's building that could serve it. Okay? They rejected the concept. They said they weren't able to because they had to buy wholesale power from under contracts and all those kinds of things. I protested to the State Corporation Commission, who governs Southside Electric and Dominion Power and APCO and all the other co-ops. And the State Corporation Commission was very specific. They said, man, it sounds reasonable. I
Remember,
understand.
this price 2 years ago was 240-some thousand.
Now, I do believe we have a unique opportunity to not spend $450,000 for the town. And I wouldn't propose doing it right now unless I had a bird in the hand of another industry that wanted to be here. But with this thing going on with the Gravett Farm, I believe he is willing and agreeable to pay half the cost and we pay the other half the cost.
And we met with them the other day, and the 450 would be, it could go down a hair because that was actually getting it to Frank's building.
Right.
It would at that point be Frank's responsibility to get
Our
it
goal
from
is to get it to the water tank and then.
And then whoever else wants to connect, they
Everybody's
connect.
on your own. Okay. And so we just get it to the street corner, Frank, whatever it costs from point A to point B, you gotta deal with, okay? But we're not asking him for money up front. but I do believe Mr. Byers would be agreeable to a 50-50 split, okay? I'd hope,
Which is
because his
probably
acreage is
pretty
much
good
more.
in our grand scheme of things.
Now, how are we gonna pay for that? I get that part. We have currently, if you go back to this form, and the reason we shaded in peach color, where that money came from, we sold approximately $50,000 of timber in the industrial park past year, in 2017, and we sold Jason Walker a piece of land in there. So, and then the town shop was the other 70. If you look at the total line, it's 170. So we have about $100,000 that I would say cash available that can be used for such a purpose. Okay. Where we get the other half?
I was about to say, where do you
Yeah,
get?
yeah.
I ain't got that far.
Well, what are you designating the town shop money go to? Well, we need to do that
I
for,
was gonna use it to
gotcha.
ultimately get the
building.
building and grounds committee to agree to get the stuff off Church Street.
Gotcha.
Let's
So no, don't touch that,
go
yeah.
with that. All right.
I don't know, if we're gonna need to find 150, I think we can find 150 if we can,
Here's why it's important, okay?
then we can be able to sell our,
You ain't got an
Lots.
industrial park.
how many acres do we have left at the industrial
We
park?
cut timber on almost 50 acres.
So we have 50 acres, how much of that is actually developable?
Right now, all of it would need to be graded and stumps taken up, but it's all developable, because that's what we cut the timber. We didn't cut the timber in that conservation easement
Gotcha.
or any of those other areas. And then you have that grassy field next to what Jason bought. I can give you an example here, I think you've got about 75 acres of ultimately marketable property, if you grub the stumps off and graded it and did all that stuff. But right now.
So you could recoup
Replace
that,
the
you
lawn.
could recoup that, I think easily off and get your or your $250,000
Ultimately, if we sold
if you
those
sold the
lots.
lots. Yeah, I mean, granted, that's a big if, but someone's more likely to buy them if they have three-phase power.
Fort Pickett's-
Right now, no one can do anything out there.
True.
Fort Pickett's full of industrial sites with water and sewer and roads and electricity and all the above. We're at a disadvantage of it. You got an industrial park, we've got an industrial park that just ain't
It ain't gonna happen.
hitting on much.
I mean, you gotta, it'd be a win-win. Granted, yes, we'd have to pay that 250. Hopefully you can sell the lots. But even if you only got the 250 off of the lots, which you'd shoot for more, but you gotta remember, we're also gonna have three-phase to increase revenue. I mean, your lodging
Water,
taxes, your
sewer.
water, sewer, all that stuff out there, which will be huge.
And I think this is gonna make the project a little better. We still have at that project some questions on sewer, and we're working on those because our sewer force mains can handle so much flow, and so we can phase one do this, phase two. And I think there's some upgrades, not necessarily the town, the majority of it, I think, is gonna be on the developer to eat some of that cost, to run force mains that bypass some of these pump stations that are too small to take 1,400 new connections.
So you don't wanna, I mean, you need to bring us more info, or what do you?
I'm asking you to recommend to council a 50-50 deal for the cost, maybe it's less than 450, with the understanding that we would pay at least 100 of that cash that we have, and the difference would come from earmarking new revenues from it.
You don't think he'll do more than 50?
50-50? Yeah, I can ask him, push him. He's agreed to 50-50. I can only report to you, he's agreeable to that.
Mhm.
But I mean, if he wanted that bad, I think he'll do 60-40.
Okay.
Can, I don't want to have, in that meeting that we had the other day, they were possibly talking about Lonnie being able to hook on to, I mean, is it too, I don't wanna say, is it too premature to give a figure? Because we've got too many unknowns right now as to what it will, I mean, if we're running the line through there, Lonnie needs to pay a portion.
But it runs by Lonnie incidentally. He's
Yeah.
the lucky one.
Correct.
Because
Very.
it just so happens that the way they would come would go right by the building.
But do you prorate it to however many line miles until it gets to his building?
Lonnie, maybe, I haven't had that conversation
I mean-
with him. He's the guy that owns the structural component building at the end of Northwest Avenue on the right-hand side.
Right there before you get on the
460.
bypass.
Got you,
He may
okay.
be willing to put something in the kitty. I haven't asked him, but he may be willing to do something. But
Yeah, because we want to get much as possible.
he's just a
We
winner.
want to reduce the burden on the taxpayer
Yeah,
as much as possible.
exactly,
Granted, it's going, in the
exactly.
long run, it's going to all be a positive, but we have to front it somehow.
I think we have to
Exactly,
front
yes.
And this is better because originally we were talking about Mr. Byers had agreed to a special tax district, so at that time, we were gonna front all of it. And man, Mr. Byers would rather just pay half of it, and, which is good, I mean, it's,
You'll pay half up cash up front.
yeah.
And we have 100 upfront, and the difference we would have to either finance or, and, you know, hopefully new revenues come in from the project and pay it down.
So it's a plus that what's happened, what's been
Yeah.
agreed upon so far, but I mean,
Unfortunately, I think it all could be done with nuclear.
oh, it could be. We all know that. We all could just set up a meter right at the three-phase power we have there now and go from there, but they're not gonna
Can't
do it.
All right, so we gotta deal with the hand we're dealt. Now, why am I pressing you? Is because Mr. Byers wants to close on the property and move on, and he wants to answer some of these questions. He's ready to try to get his development going. I'm working on the sewer, this is an electric question. And we, you know, things can still be fluid between now and the 27th, but those are the facts.
Well-
And he's agreed to a half and half.
I'd rather, if possible, can we not put a figure on there and just take it to council? Does it have to have a recommendation from us right now?
No, you
Just
don't have to.
present it to us on,
27th.
on the 27th?
Let the whole council debate it and.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't want to throw figures out there
Yeah.
and be,
Yeah,
and in the meantime, can we,
And he knows he can't get a final answer until the 27th anyhow.
correct,
He
yeah.
knew tonight
Can-
was just a.
Can in the meantime, you talk and just, whether it's with Lonnie or whether it's with Frank, does Frank pay a port? I mean, see what, we know
Put it in
250.
writing who's paying what.
exactly,
All right,
yes,
3 on 27.
yes,
Good deal. All right,
fair enough.
and we got plenty to do on sewer, and none of that's gonna be cheap,
Yeah,
but
and I don't want to run them away by any means, no, we need it.
Oh, yeah.
But I just want to reduce, if possible, anything that, to the taxpayer.
one last question that he's asked, and I broach it with you guys before we go to council. He has asked me, how can I ensure the federal government's not gonna build a hotel out on Post to Surf Fest? I don't know if you can. Having at Fort Lee, if you remember, Fort Lee, got everybody and their brother to build hotels all around Fort Lee, and boom, the Army put a daggone 1,000-room hotel
Right in the middle.
on Post. Ah. So man, I have heard that over and over, that mantra, how do I know I can trust the government? and all
I
that?
tried to do it.
Huh?
I tried to do it in 2010, and I got shot down by the USPS.
Acronym I don't know. Hermione. So, moving on, he's gonna ask the council, cause he asked me, I said, how do I tell a banker that they're not gonna build a 1,000-room hotel to serve Fast C? I said, the town still reserves the right to vote on making water and sewer connections.
Whether you connect to them or not.
I would say the bigger possibility is that the State Department will build their barracks eventually.
They may, yeah, exactly, that's what we're talking about.
It's not
So-
gonna be a hotel.
He's gonna ask the council, he's asked me, will
And
the
it's-
council go on record as saying that they would not provide water and sewer connection to a federally owned and operated facility? A private one, we not even that.
No, private, I feel like we've
But a
mandated.
federally owned and operated hotel, AFES or whatever that I think does things like that for the Army. He's gonna ask that we pass a resolution saying that you wouldn't connect to that.
Which is a pretty,
Hotels Group something.
which is pretty, I mean, it's a pretty smart, it would benefit the government either way because you're gonna get more taxes and all, I mean,
But remember, the one thing that you can't do is commit the next town council.
no, it
So
would
he's
be,
gotta understand, man, whatever they do is for this group and this group only, because next election, we get 5 new people and they say, yeah, let's go on with it. It's only as good as the council that votes on it.
Let me understand what you're saying. You're saying he wants us to say that we would not support giving the federal government a tap fee?
Not a chassis.
Or
we wouldn't connect them.
Outright.
But can
If
we
they wanted
do
to build a
that?
facility at Fast C out there, if it's run by the federal government. and
Eric
owned and
heard, I
operated-
think, some of this presentation.
Okay, so are you prepared to get back from the federal government that you can't have any more of our water?
Just for this hotel? No, just for a
We're
hotel.
Just
talking
for-
about telling
barracks.
them that they can't do something.
Yeah,
The federal
That's-
government can't do something, the federal government's gonna come back and slap you.
Hey, man.
yeah,
Tell them they will.
yeah, I don't think,
But the town of
Yes.
Blackstone specifically reserves the right in its charter to refuse water and sewer
And you
service.
remember,
outside
we're
town
also getting ready to do a favor to Pickett too,
with Taffy.
with the tap fees, that they will never pay tap fees again. So it could be I don't know, it's,
He's asked for that, and council's gonna just talk about it, I guess, and think about it. But council reserves the right to approve or deny out-of-town taps.
but see, I'm kinda like Tom, that's gonna come back and hunt us eventually.
Good.
I mean, it could be as simple as maybe we just need to go to Abby and say, Abby, can we get a commitment from you guys in writing for the next 4 years that y'all aren't gonna have a hotel?
Well, I think she'll do that.
That's a plus.
I mean,
That's
she don't,
that's a
Abby will
plus.
say, yeah, there's no money to do that, it's not appropriate.
So, and then that will kill, I mean, that will accomplish what we're trying to do.
Exactly.
Talk to Abby.
Yeah.
Ask her, see if you can get a
Lay some
commitment
fear.
for 4 years, effective July 1, 2023.
I think he's a
until
little
July.
spooky, and the guys that are
Which I don't
investing
blame him,
money
I
are
mean,
spooky that
We got a perfect example right down the street, like you said.
350 hotel rooms, and the next thing you know, boop, State Department builds a barracks.
And which
He's
I
out of business.
understand where you're coming from, you know?
Abby, I think,
Well,
I've heard
I don't think
Abby.
he is.
Huh?
I don't think he is. I would've built a hotel 6 years ago, and I think it'd be thriving right now without the State Department.
I don't doubt it. I think that they're.
There's soldiers that would stay in that thing all day long.
I think there's a lot of soldiers that don't want to stay in barracks, that would prefer to be in a hotel.
Oh, yeah.
I think Abby, I don't know, broach that with her and just see.
I've got her, she'll be in my office the 13th.
Because I think she'll be, I mean, because she's mentioned us several times, they're not going to, but if we had it in writing, it'd be something different.
Okay.
Procurement policy, last thing, so we can get on out of here, don't be long enough.
Oh, you want me to do that?
If you did, you did it.
Okay, we adopted the procurement policy last year. During my initial preliminary audit with the auditors, we've kind of come up, you know, we're still working out the kinks too. There's a kink in where we say anything over $10,000, we're gonna advertise in the newspaper. We can purchase fuel for over $10,000. And so what they do is they pull our invoices, they're flagging anything over 10, and they're like, well, where's your newspaper ad? Well, we're not gonna run an ad for gas. We do call our 3 vendors, and we're getting the 3 prices. So we're getting a little hung up on that, and I asked him what did he recommend, and referring to the Virginia procurement policy, 30 grand is what we should put in.
State required.
What the state
So
requires.
anything greater than 30 must be advertised.
Correct.
Must be advertised.
Must be
Now,
advertised in the newspaper.
our town code does say anything over 10 ultimately is supposed to be approved by council.
Yeah.
Right.
So I gotta come back to you before I can award. Now, gas, we haven't been.
I mean, they
able to-
still approve it and your bills to be paid, you know, those big, large amounts, but,
I mean, a tanker of gas can run what? I mean, that's,
I mean, we're buying fuel out of the airport for more than that, you
14,000.
know, and it's just,
for a
it's just
tanker.
trying to work the kinks out of our procurement policy, because the auditors, they're not gonna,
zing us for it. They're just,
they're not, but they're like, you might wanna take a look at this. And then, I think council has brought up before about the request for proposal, kinda just giving the guys, the department heads just a format to go by, instead of going around just saying, hey, I need
this was the issue brought up with
10 tires.
the building, pole building. that we were-
Right, and so I just came up with a simple form, you know, they can just write down the quantity, description, what they're asking for, and give the person, you know, we want it by Friday at 5. You can submit it by email, you know, just to kind of formalize it a
Yeah.
little bit, so
No, that's good.
we're not going around with just a notepad asking the different vendors for a price. This just formalizes it, we've given everybody we're asking for the same document, it just kind of streamlines it a little bit.
Can
It's
you get a signature line anywhere on any of these? I mean, just to,
I can, but like, this is gonna be prepared by the department head who's seeking
Oh,
the
okay,
bids.
gotcha.
And so this is what's given to the vendor. You know, they can submit it on their own quote letterhead. You know, a lot of vendors have their own proposal, standard quote format. This is just kinda telling them what we want, you know, what
have your
project.
specs on there.
Yes, yeah. that's-
32 desk chairs.
Yeah, and I
mean, it
did
could
not, I did not specify the use of this form in the procurement policy, because like I said, the auditors are gonna hold me to it. We have different forms, we have a bid sheet, we have different things, but I feel like this is gonna help
No, that's
our
good.
department heads, and
All right.
you guys agree, I would like to amend the procurement policy to increase that newspaper ad line.
All right, I move that we submit to council the procurement changes for the up to $30,000, or anything
Anything over
over $30,000 must be advertised.
Yes.
But I can tell you, for things like, for example, planting flower pots,
Yeah.
or doing something, we still put that in favor. because
Oh,
we
yeah,
get
no,
looked at.
most definitely, yeah.
Just because it's $30,000 doesn't mean we won't put it in.
Correct.
It just means we're only.
You must.
obligated.
That's a
We
must.
must have to do it.
And like I
And
said,
then-
that we won't get zinged for not.
Yeah, we don't want anybody to
Yeah,
worry about revenues or ads being decreased or us trying to avoid. We already do it for $1,500 or $2,000 a year
Yeah.
to put ads, but we must at 30.
and then also include in that same motion, the new form for request for proposals for department heads.
Okay. You made that motion.
Yeah.
A second motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Mm-hmm. Is that it? Philip, I'm not giving you a second chance, so that meeting's adjourned at 7:50.